So this video is actually part of a longer video that I recorded. If you want to see the full video, check the video description, or I will have different chunks as well. So if you want to check out the different topics that I cover inside of this video, I do go into an in-depth reasoning as to why I'm putting so much money into Index Universal Life. So check the video description if you want to see the whole video. All right, so when we look at these index strategies, so as I said, these are the strategies that I'm using. I think I like the 40% bonus, which is the select strategy, which you have the 1% asset charge. So I'm doing select on both the Bloomberg and the PIMCO with that select strategy. And then there's this bonus strategy, which is that 15% bonus. And so those things are, what we can show with this. And so, yeah, we're getting 6% rate in this illustration is what we're showing. But again, I think we're going to do better. 8 to 10% I think is realistic. And I'm doing these 4 different strategies because that gives me access to 4 different annual point-to-points where I can lock in an index lock, so that if I'm happy with a 20% return in a year, I can say, all right, I'm going to lock that because I think there's going to be some volatility coming up. I think it's time to lock. So, again, it's time in the market. You don't necessarily have to do that, but I just wanted that option. And I may shift these things over time, so we'll see how that goes. All right, so looking here, we have, the different index strategies and sort of these hypothetical returns. One thing to consider with this page that I didn't fully understand at first is that these returns are not actually factoring in the bonus. So that's why you see that the 15% is exactly the same as the 40%. So it's just, I think, because of the fact that they're not, these guaranteed bonus situations. I mean, you're guaranteed to have the 40%, but it's not like this 0.9% guarantee. This gets paid out even if it's a 0 year. You'll get 0.9% credit. So they can't illustrate those things, but this does factor in the participation rate. And as I said, my policy was put in force when the participation rates were lower. They're now 165%. Mine shows 145. I'll get that 165 at my policy anniversary in February. So, but all that considered, this is realistically, so not factoring in that 40%, over a 15-year period, we're looking at 8% returns on each of these index strategies. And when you factor in a 40% or 15% bonus on top of that, you're really looking at a 10 or so percent, 9 to 10, 12% return over a 15-year period. And these index things don't go that far back. They're relatively new index funds. But now you'll have access to these going forward, and they do a pretty good job of controlling volatility. So I think we are going to see them be strong in this policy over the years. So all of that's considered, and so this guaranteed one, I don't like the strategy. It shows lower, but that's really, again, because the participation rate's lower. I think the best strategy is the 40% with the 1% asset charge. But I'm mixing it up just to have those extra index lock options. And then one other thing you can see here is that my account has this 4.35 fixed interest account. I think it's now like 4.7. So mine will get adjusted up once my policy anniversary happens in February. So if you were to get a policy, if you wanted to put your stuff into a safe fixed account, you could. Again, I don't recommend it. I think the power here is in these index strategies, so that is an option though as well. So another thing that you surely do not get inside of a brokerage account or whatever is the ability to access up to a death benefit. So going beyond what your cash value is in the event that some kind of life situation happens. And so in this case, if you have a chronic illness, you could access up to your full death benefit. In the event that you needed to cover costs of that chronic illness, and so you don't have to live impoverished when and you're still living. So that's just a really powerful thing as well in this. And then also there is the terminal illness. So with the terminal illness rider, you have access to your death benefit if you are diagnosed with a terminal illness. In this case, up to 1 million. So these are just benefits that you just don't get anywhere else. It's just by virtue of being insurance, you have access to extra value if you need it in the event that you need it. So that's just, again, an advantage here over anything else. So just another thing, companies get rated by Standard & Poor, AM Best, Moody's. Like these are rating systems. This just shows that Allianz is a very strong company financially. So, when you are considering getting a policy like this, you're putting it into a strong company that is going to stick around for the long term. This is how the policy works. You have your accumulation value, fixed and index options. You've got loans and withdrawals for accessing the funds. You've got death benefit, and you got your premium. So I've talked through a lot of these things, and here's just a nice little diagram that's walking through that stuff. So, this is kind of how a lot of that works. And we're going to talk here in a moment about the policy loans. So that is a really big piece of why this is a great strategy. And here's a diagram of the how the index crediting works, and these concepts of these annual point to points. So that's how this index crediting works inside of your policy. And we've talked through a lot of this. This is just an example so you can see it visually. All right, and this is what I was mentioning with the ability to have an index lock feature. So you can lock if you think that the market might take a downturn. You can lock and ensure that you're going to have gains. Again, it's sort of timing the market. I may or may not even end up using my lock features, but I am doing 4 different strategies to have access to 4 different lock timeframes. And here's a chart of the bonus options. I've talked through a lot of this again as well. But if you're curious about how they describe it, here's how these index strategies work. So again, recommend this select and bonus option. I think those are the best strategies. So this was recorded as part of a much larger video that breaks down my IUL, my Index Universal Life policy, and how Index Universal Life works in general. So if you want to see that, check the video description. I'll also probably put links somewhere up here for the playlist that has the smaller chunks of the video, like this one. And we'd really like to work with you. If we can find a way to help you, we'd love to. So book a meeting with us. You don't have to have nearly as much money going into this as we're walking through here. You can get started with a few $1,000s a year. And a good starting point is probably moving aspects of your emergency fund into this, because you can still access these funds within a couple of days by taking policy loans. So again, check the video description below. If you want to book a meeting with me, drop a like, subscribe, comment. Thanks for watching.